If you believe the raw statistics, and if you had aspirations of being part of the postseason, the Houston Texans' 2018 season is likely over. The team fell to 0-3 on Sunday following an inexcusable 27-22 loss to the less hapless than the Texans' New York Giants at NRG Stadium. Yes, it looks like it's over for the NFL's 0-3 teams, as history hasn't been kind to slow starters. Going way back to 1980, there have been 173 teams to start a season 0-3, with only 5 of them going on to make the playoffs, a whopping 2.8%. If you're a fan of one of the 0-3 teams, and that 2.8% number is giving you hope, it shouldn't. The last team to start 0-3 and make the playoffs was the 1998 Bills, who followed up their 0-3 start with 5 straight wins. The Raiders and Cardinals are already 3 games behind in their division races, so go ahead, tear up those futures tickets and start scouting the upcoming draft class. An argument could be made for the Texans, however, as it's not inconceivable that they could win their next 3 games versus the Colts, Cowboys and Bills, while the rest of their schedule isn't exactly made up of elite contenders. 2.8%. Yikes. Not good. 3 games in, when the best thing you can hang your hat on is, hey, at least we're not the Raiders or Cardinals, that is suboptimal. The door is ever so slightly ajar, though, and the next 3 games are basically of Super Bowl level urgency, if you think the ship can ride it. The belief level is so low in Bill O'Brien right now, though, that I wouldn't even blame you for sending me the "Are you high, Sean?" email you just started typing 3 times before the Texans have begun the season 0-3, which sounds shockingly low for a franchise that has the following profile. 1. They've made the playoffs just 4 times in 16 previous seasons in team history, and 2 of those were 9-7 seasons in the downtrodden AFC South. 2. They've had 10 sub-.500 seasons, including a couple of 2-14 seasons. Spoiler alert, only one of them started with 3 losses. 3. Prior to this season, the best quarterback in team history was Matt Schaub for, like, 3 or 4 seasons, and there had not been a close second. So, if we are to learn from history, then surely you are curious, how did those 3 seasons end? 2005 FIRST 3 games, final records in parentheses, 22-7 at BUF, 5-11, 2,707 versus Pitt, 11-5, 16-10 at SIN, 11-5, opening losing streak, 6 games, final record, 2-14. This was the season that ultimately undid the Dom Capers era, a 2-14 debacle coming off a 7-9 season in which the Texans were frisky despite David Carr being their quarterback. The only 2 wins of the season were over the 6-10 Cleveland Browns and 5-11 Arizona Cardinals. Ultimately, this led to the hiring of Gary Kubiak, Rick Smith, and the drafting of Mario Williams. So there's that. This Texans team had one of those deplorable Week 3 bye weeks. The league doesn't do bye weeks in Week 3 anymore, thankfully. 2006 FIRST 3 games, final records in parentheses, 24-10 versus FI, 10-6, 43-24, 9-12-4, 31-15 versus was 5-11, opening losing streak, 3 games, final record, 6-10. The very next season, returning Texan players found themselves in familiar territory, losing the first 3 games with Gary Kubiak trying to salvage something out of the disastrous selection of David Carr with the team's first ever first-round pick. 0-3 turned into 3-8 before Gary Kubiak did what he seemingly did each of his first 4 seasons. He got hot in December and made everyone think that next season would be the one where the Texans finally arrived. Kubiak was 14-6 after the end of November. His first 4 seasons as Texans head coach, 2008 FIRST 3 games, final records in parentheses, 38-17 versus at Pitt, 12-4, 31-12 at 10, 13-3, 30-27 at Jack, 5-11, opening losing streak, 4 games, final record, 8-8. This was the weird season where Hurricane Ike hit in Week 2, which unfortunately was the only home game scheduled in September for the Texans, so they opened with an impromptu Week 2 bye week, which they spent in hurricane mode, far from relaxing. The Week 2 game was moved to Week 10, which was the original bye. The first 3 games were all on the road, and an 0-4 start basically torpedoed the season before the branches were picked up for Mike. Of course, Kubiak did Kubiak things, winning 5 of his last 6, including a win in Green Bay in December and a win over the 13-3 Titans at home. Of course, for a team with dark horse Super Bowl aspirations heading into the season like the 2018 Texans have, and with a franchise QB, albeit a young one, in place, none of the above scenarios are remotely acceptable, nor should they be. Listen to Sean Pendergast on Sports Radio 610 from 2 to 6 p.m. weekdays. Also, follow him on Twitter at http://twitter.com/StPendergast and like him on Facebook at https://www.facebook.com/StPendergast.